Before we run into the plot, let's first understand the character of Sharpe and the world he fights in. The character was brought to life by Bernard Cornwell in his Sharpe series of novels. He's the epitome of a self-made man, born into poverty, forged by war, and defined by a relentless drive to prove himself in a society that dismisses him. Cornwell has said that Sharpe was initially envisioned as a British counterpart to Bernard Sampson, the protagonist of Len Deighton's spy novels. Like Sampson, Sharpe is a survivor, a tough, practical, and occasionally cynical man navigating a harsh world. Cornwell has admitted that Sharpe was partly born out of necessity. Living in the United States in the 1970s, he found himself unable to work due to visa restrictions. Frustrated and inspired, he decided to write a historical novel. The idea of a soldier in the Napoleonic Wars came naturally to him, as he had a deep interest in military history. Cornwell wrote that Richard Sharpe's early life was as grim as it gets. Born in the slums of London around 1777, Sharpe grows up in a world of crime, deprivation, and survival of the fittest. His mother, who was a prostitute, dies when he was young, and his father is unknown. By the time he's a teenager, Sharpe is a street-smart survivor, resorting to theft to get by. His life takes a dramatic turn when he's caught and faces the gallows. Instead of execution, he's offered a choice: enlist in the British Army or hang. Sharpe takes the deal, or the King's Shilling as it's known as, setting him on the path from petty thief to battlefield hero. Our story begins in 1809, during the Peninsular War. Napoleon is master of Europe, and his brother Joseph sits on the throne of Spain. Sir Arthur Wellesley, soon to be Lord Wellington, has taken the city of Oporto and rests his army before he looks to enter Spain. In the middle of this chaos, Sergeant Richard Sharpe, aka Sean Bean, earns a field promotion to lieutenant when he saves the life of Wellesley during a French ambush. A recurring theme in this series will be the legend of how Sharpe saved Wellesley's life, taking on 3 cavalrymen, or was it 4, 5, or maybe even 6? Well, it depends who's telling the story, and who is needing to be impressed, or have the fear of God put into them. Wellesley's other reward for Sharpe's heroic deed is a mission. Wellesley has ordered Sharpe to locate and rescue James Rothschild, a banker who Wellesley needs to borrow money from to pay for the army's wages and help pay for Allied support in Spain. No rest for the weary then. Sharpe's newfound rank also places him in command of a small, unruly group of riflemen from the 95th Rifles, also known as the Chosen Men. Things don't start off on the best footing, as Sharpe's attempt to awaken the men ends in fisticuffs with Sergeant Harper. Sharpe then introduces himself to his crack squad of Chosen Men. These men, who are hardened veterans, are deeply sceptical of Sharpe's leadership and rise from the ranks. Needless to say, it was not love at first sight. The mission quickly unravels when the group is ambushed by French cavalry, killing Major Dunnet. Although interestingly, the actor, Julian Fellowes, who plays Major Dunnet, resurrects in later episodes as the Prince Regent, so I doubt he complained. Stranded behind enemy lines, Sharpe must now lead his men to safety whilst fulfilling his mission. Sharpe's men, however, already doubtful of his authority, begin to fragment and openly rebel against Sharpe, led by Harper. Round 2 anyone? However, this rebellion of sorts was quickly quashed as they encountered Teresa Moreno, also known as the Needle, a fierce Spanish guerrilla, and her band of resistance fighters. Teresa, sceptical of Sharpe at first, becomes an ally when their goals align. She introduces Sharpe to Major Blas Vivar, a Spanish officer with a secret chest of apparent documents. But as Harper states, documents are heavy and they lift it like it weighs nothing, adding a layer of doubt into Sharpe's mind. Throughout the journey, and on advice given to him from Teresa and Vivar, Sharpe gradually wins the rifleman's respect. He does this through taking time to listen to his men and treating them with respect. In fact, by the end of the episode, Harper becomes Sharpe's trusted ally, cementing a bond that becomes one of the series' central relationships. He also begins to discover certain feelings about Teresa, feelings that will continue throughout the episode. Sharpe and friends come across a village on fire. Sharpe quickly investigates to find bodies everywhere, houses burning, and some random garage. However,
it's a trap!
The French ambushes them from the side streets, only for this to be yet another ruse. Blas Vivar's brother Thomas slips away from the fight to a lightly protected chest. His attempt at retrieving it, however, was dashed as Harper shows his loyalty by quickly dispatching the 2 French cavalrymen and defending the chest. All the people wanting this chest may or may not hold the heart of Davy Jones. This bravery from Harper earns Sharpe's respect, and he bestows upon him the greatest honour.
Fall in, Rifleman Harper.
Yes, sir. Thank you very much, sir.
Now back to the carriage. Inside, Sharpe discovers Mr. Parker, Mrs. Parker, and Louisa Parker, who claim to be Methodist missionaries. Now, without sounding rude, but that is the most obvious case of a man in a wig I have ever seen. Following some more walking, talking, and journeying, Sharpe and the gang reach the monastery to rest. It is at this time that Sharpe's feelings for Teresa come out. He is, however, unfortunately given the cold shoulder and is unable to get past first base. Therefore, he decides to go poking around in other areas. This leads him to wanting to know what is in that bloody chest. He discovers it is the gonfalon of Santiago, the banner of blood, a holy banner that symbolises Spain's resistance against Napoleon. Blas Vivar believes that raising the banner in Santiago will inspire the Spanish people to rise against their French oppressors. Sharpe, however, is unconvinced. Following a night of some obvious self-satisfaction from Sharpe, as well as giving our friend Harper a promotion to sergeant, the story reaches its climax. Sharpe, Vivar, Teresa, and their combined forces pull a ruse of their own to try and outwit the larger, better equipped French force held up at Santiago. After the daring and chaotic battle scene, they eventually succeed in raising the gonfalon of Santiago on the cathedral, fulfilling Vivar's mission. Although he does have to kill his brother, but he was a bad guy, so no real loss. This symbolic act inspires the local Spanish population to rally against the French, turning the tide in their favour. With victory seemingly complete, Sharpe, however, is confronted by the French colonel in some more man-on-man swordplay action. After a tough battle, Sharpe is unarmed and the French colonel is about to cheat and shoot Sharpe, but Perkins comes to the rescue and neutralises the threat. He is then given the honour of becoming a chosen man. With their mission complete, Sharpe reports back to Wellesley, who pats him on the back, but expresses disappointment that he was unable to find his missing banker, James Rothschild. But wait, in a very Scooby-Doo-like unmasking, Mrs. Parker is actually James Rothschild, who gives Wellesley his banker's note. With all the backpacking over and done with, Sharpe prepares for his next mission and to rejoin the British troops. Teresa, however, must leave to continue her guerrilla fighting, leaving Sharpe with a bittersweet farewell. But not until Sharpe finally gets past first base. Ah, I love a happy ending. By the end of the episode, Sharpe has solidified his position as a leader. He's not just a sergeant turned lieutenant anymore, he's proven himself worthy of command, earning the loyalty of his riflemen and the respect of Harper. However, the challenges of his rank, the dangers of war, and the rigid class system of the British Army remain an ever-present obstacle. Sean Bean is Sharpe. His portrayal of a rough, resourceful, and reluctant leader carries the episode. Bean brings just the right mix of toughness, vulnerability, and charisma to make Sharpe a believable and likeable hero. The dynamics between Sharpe and his men, particularly his evolving relationship with Patrick Harper, are a highlight. Watching Sharpe earn the respect of his riflemen sets up one of the series' most enduring and satisfying story arcs. The show doesn't shy away from the brutal realities of Napoleonic warfare. The battles feel raw and chaotic, and the hardships faced by the characters are palpable. The use of real locations enhances this authenticity. One of the standout aspects is its use of on-location shooting. The production team couldn't afford to film in Spain, where the story is set, so the team opted for Ukraine's Crimean Peninsula. The decision to shoot on location rather than relying on studio sets gave the series a raw, authentic feel. The landscapes, with their windswept plains and craggy hills, added to the sense of desolation and danger faced by Sharpe and his men. However, filming in Crimea came with its own set of challenges. The cast and crew dealt with freezing temperatures, unreliable equipment, and a lack of modern amenities. Sean Bean has joked in interviews that he spent much of the shoot shivering in his Green Rifleman's uniform. Assumpta Serna as Teresa Moreno and Dara O'Malley as Patrick Harper are standouts. Serna's fierce independence as Teresa adds depth, whilst O'Malley's transformation from antagonist to ally provides a satisfying subplot. John Tam, or Hagman in the series, added his own folk-inspired music to the mix, and Dominic Muldowney's score gives the series a unique emotional resonance. Over the Hills and Far Away is a perfect thematic anthem. What is obvious, however, is that the limited budget is apparent in some areas. The battle scenes, while creatively staged, lack the scale and grandeur of larger productions. Sometimes the same small groups of extras is recycled to depict larger armies. The episodes can feel slow in parts, especially during the travel sequences. While these moments build character and tension, they do occasionally drag, especially for viewers expecting a more consistent action. For the sake of narrative clarity, the episodes simplify some historical details. While this is understandable, history lovers may occasionally find the liberties taken with the real events distracting. The flaws of Sharpe rifles, however, are outweighed heavily by its strengths. The episode excels because it focuses on the characters and their relationships, grounding the story in human drama rather than relying on spectacle. It's about people, about loyalty, leadership, and survival in a brutal world. The episode also perfectly captures the essence of Bernard Cornwell's novels. The struggle of an outsider to rise above his circumstances, the camaraderie of soldiers, and the chaos of war. So, my final thoughts? Sharpe's Rifles isn't a flawless production, but its heart and grit make it compelling, something modern TV fails to achieve with their oversaturated budgets. It's an underdog story both on and off the screen, and that's part of its charm. This first chapter introduces a world that feels lived in, a protagonist you want to root for, and a series that promises grander adventures ahead. Thanks for watching, Sharpe fans. If you liked what you saw, please do like, share, and subscribe to the channel. The next video will be the next episode in the series, Sharpe's Eagle. I can't wait for you to join me in more adventures in the world of Sharpe. As always, I'll see you over the hill and far away.